All right, welcome back, everybody. We are on episode number 8 of the Weekly Pulse. We made it past the tricky number 7. We're official podcasters. So today we are going to put Josh on the hot seat. So we're going to find out who he is, what he does, and any other questions that we have for him. So but before we get to that, we're going to go over our wins of the week. We'll start with Tina. What wins you got for us this week?
I've never been first for wins of the week.
Hey, caught you off guard.
That's
your
my
win of
number
the
one.
week.
That's my number one win, is that I got to go first. Let's see. Lots of good wins again this week. I'll keep repeating this one since I never get to start off with this one, but Josh and I did our speed training again Saturday. Things are rolling along. We're feeling good. We're getting fast. We're going longer and plans to meet again this week. So putting in the reps and it's paying off. And then on just another personal level, I've set aside some time this week to get back to some habits that I haven't had time for. Just with different seasons with my kids and sports and everything, but back to doing some reading at night before bed. And I also like to do a little stretching routine again before bed, kind of a wind down. So got to do that a few times this week. So that feels really good on the body.
Nice. Jessica, you can go next. What kind of wins you got?
This is a big win for me. This is that time of year when my entire schedule shifts, when all the new sports are coming in. We have, 3 times more sports than we normally have. So our schedule is busy. So it is when I have to sit down and I have to reconfigure everything for myself and how I'm going to stay on track with my fitness, my nutrition, my meal planning day changes, everything changes. The whole entire plan changes, but the goal doesn't change. So I've been holding myself accountable to every single thing, just had to make all my tweaks and shift everything. So it is possible. You can do it. You just have to take that little time, put it aside, and just figure everything out. So that was my big win, big one.
Which is a big win because when we see the seasons change, whether it be actual seasons of the year or just sports seasons or seasons of school, that's when you see people really struggle when they think they have everything under control and then their life gets flipped upside down with all the different kid stuff going on. So good for you for getting that adjusted right away and not having to go through the struggles of a couple down weeks to get acclimated, but getting acclimated right away. Man of the hour, Josh, what kind of wins do you have?
Yeah, so like Tina said, we had a good week running. It was a really good week personally, but I wanted to change gears and make this more of a family win this week. Having just made it through the Easter holiday, it kind of made me remember that every time we have one of these holidays, having 4 kids, having a large family, we end up with just a shit ton of candy all over the place. And, having had a year now where we've spent like 15 grand in dental expenses, we made it a priority to sort through all this candy, divvy it up, portion it out. And so we don't just have a whole pantry full of this stuff that the kids are just coming home from school every night and just devouring. They each chose pieces. We put them in individual little baggies. We've divvied things up. We've hidden some in other corners that we can bring out, at later times. So major win that we're the week post-holiday and we're surviving the candy rush.
Sweet. Yeah, that would be one of my wins as well. Just jump into those my kids, especially my youngest one, Colton, he is a candy monster. So if he sees that shit laying around anywhere, that's all he can pretty much think about is candy, candy, candy. So we did a good job getting rid of that as well, out of sight, out of mind. And since they haven't seen it, they haven't even asked for it. Honestly, they've had more fun just playing with their eggs than worried about the candy inside of the eggs. They just like to find them. Other wins, for me this week, we got our office a little more decorated. As you can kind of see, we got some of these awesome stories hung up, which is something I've been sitting on doing for a long time. So finally taking some action, felt good. Getting things just crossed off the list. And then now we got a couple more that we're going to add to the wall, which is always fun to see these stories come up. And it just feels really good to look at them and know why we're doing this. So those would probably be, that's my biggest win, is really getting that stuff up on the wall. And it's been cool to see people at the gym coming in and checking them out. And hopefully all these stories help inspire other people, because that's really the main purpose, is to motivate and inspire everybody else to do something great. We skipped going over any upcoming events last week, so let's talk about anything new that might be coming up. Tina, you can go first again. How about that?
Yeah, there we go. So nothing new, but I will talk about the Hydrants, Hoses, and Heroes 5K, May 4th, Lindendale Park, 8 a.m. I know registration's open. It's going to be, a great event for a great cause. First 5K that I know of locally here in Highland. So looking forward to that and getting a lot of our members outside, outdoors to do their first 5K of the season. It will definitely be my first 5K of the season. So looking forward to it.
Yes, me too. I'm looking forward to 5K season to really motivate me to get running consistently and just regularly again. So Jessica, what kind of wins you got? Or not wins, events.
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 I'm going to share about the Schweitzer Dash again. That is on Saturday, June 8th. And it begins over here at the Highland Square, which is fun. It is Schweitzer Fest weekend, so it's a great time. But this year, we're really trying to focus on having families run together so we can get our children involved in our activities. So if you think your kids would like to come out and run this 5K, we encourage you to bring them. They don't have to run, they can jog. Just to have them cross that finish line for the first time is a huge accomplishment. See those smiles on their faces, to get, maybe get a medal. And we're hoping over the years to turn this into a bigger family event. So it would be great. The sign up link is out on an event, and we will also post the links for both 5Ks under this when we share this this week, today, whenever you're watching it.
Yeah.
Sometime.
Sometime.
All right, Josh, anything that you've heard of coming up at all that you're aware of?
No, I think I'm ready for some more stuff. It seems like it's time, but no, I don't have anything else to share.
Yeah, I don't really have anything other than I know a group of us, they do have the date set for the Tour de Donut in Staunton as well in July. I don't have the exact date, but I know it's out. And I know I need a couple months of biking to actually get myself ready for it. So that is right around the corner. I do need to start thinking about it and getting myself prepared to do the 35 miles for that. So if you are into biking, it's a great event. The Tour de Donut, you get some awesome donuts. They're actually really good. So you should sign up for that or keep that in mind if you're into biking.
I can actually get to that. It is July 13th.
So there we go, July 13th. It's, like I said, it's a huge event. I think last year they had close to probably 800 to 1,000 bikers. So it's a really big thing. It's a lot of fun. So let's get into getting to know Josh. And he has been working with me for, is it 12 years now or is it 11?
Going on 12. Yep. Going on 12.
11, going
in
on
our
12.
11th year.
Can't believe it. You've stuck around with me for that long. It's hard to believe. So let's just dive right in and let's go back into the past 11 years ago or so and tell us, why did you decide to become a trainer?
So actually, I need to jump a little bit further back than that and kind of give you my why before I even knew my why. So I need to go back to 2006 and give you a little bit of history because I had to kind of hit rock bottom before I had that aha moment that, made me get to where I've eventually gotten. So kind of my story begins in 2006. I had been married for a few years. We hadn't quite started a family yet, but I had a back injury in a job that I was previously doing. And it really sent a shock. It changed my world for a while. And I kind of started to get into some bad habits, wasn't moving quite as well. I had never really exercised per se, because, in my younger days, I really never needed to. I just led a pretty active life and things just sort of happened. But in 2006, I had this injury. I basically, for about 6 months, didn't really walk or do a whole lot because, it was a pretty serious back injury. And then started getting back to things, but not at that time, didn't know I wasn't doing things properly. And then in 2007, Michelle and I started having a family. Kind of, things just kind of kept going, not realizing that I'm continuing to put on weight, continuing to go down this bad path, letting things get in my way. We have our second kid in 2009, continuing down this bad path and just not even realizing what's going on. And it wasn't until November 12th of 2010, it was my daughter's first birthday party, where, the whole family's over, you're down on the floor with your 1-year-old opening presents. And it wasn't until I went to get up off the floor and realized that it was really hard I couldn't get off the floor because I had, over the course of 4 or 5 years, gained almost 100 pounds. And it was right then, I remember sitting there with the house full and just going to myself, something has to change. So the very next day, I got on the treadmill. And, at that point, I was probably close to 270 pounds. And so even walking was difficult then. But I just started not knowing what I was doing. And now, years later, looking back, knowing the right things that we should do, I was doing a lot of the wrong things. But nevertheless, I started moving, started eating better. And then kind of over the course of from 2010 to 2012, I lost almost 100 pounds. And, started running 5Ks the walking turned into running, turned in, to a 5K, and then a few 5Ks, and then a 10K, and then, just kept escalating. And I did have a setback with my back at that time, kind of went full circle there again, but then this time went through therapy the right way. And then it was about then where I'm spending all my time exercising and running and doing therapy. Then Michelle says, you might want to just go into this as a profession because you're spending all your time doing this. So that was when I kind of, looked online, found a certification, went through the NASM like Jeff did, and, got certified as a trainer. And I think my brother-in-law was working out with Jeff at the time. And I don't remember if you were officially hiring or if he just said, you may want to talk to Jeff. But I gave Jeff a call. He came and said, let's talk about it. So we worked out a spot. And then, I think it was going on late 2012, started with Jeff and kind of started the next journey. So that's how we ended together.
Awesome. Jessica, kind of looks like you have a question you want to ask him? I can see it.
I do. Okay. I just figured this part I actually know, but since we're talking about you and we want to ask you a lot of questions, before we start asking questions and putting you on the hot seat, would you like to kind of explain to people what your role is now at Pulse and everything that you do right now before we start asking you questions about it?
Yeah. So now I think probably all the mistakes I've made, because generally it's those mistakes that we make over time, right? That we sort of hopefully learn from those mistakes. And I like to think that I have. All the nutrition mistakes that I've made over the past decade plus have now led me to, that's kind of become my passion, and where I try to channel my energy at Pulse in helping those with those nutrition kind of specific areas, especially as we get into our 12-week transformation, as you know, you guys kind of work through your areas. And then as people need to focus in more on those nutrition things, then that's where I come in and help them there.
Yeah, so I would, maybe to even help sum it up a little bit is, Josh is just really good with nutrition strategies. So helping, it doesn't matter who you are, if you're a busy mom or working, a working husband or whatever, it doesn't matter, whatever your struggles are. He takes you down an individualized path of, what's the strategy that works best for you and how to incorporate all the things that you're trying to do. I think might be, that's kind of my summary of what you do and how you help us and all of our clients here at the gym.
Yeah, to add to that, I think kind of the biggest thing there is meeting the clients where they're at. Everybody's in a different spot. So, we will generally hopefully we find it out in the first meeting, but sometimes it takes a meeting, 2 meetings, 3 meetings, 5 meetings to find out where they're at and meet, we have to meet them where they are. And then we can start to build the process on putting together a plan from there.
Cool. Tina, do you got anything for Josh? You haven't asked him a question yet, so let's kind of go around.
Yeah, I haven't asked him a question yet. So one thing that I would also just like for you to highlight about yourself, Josh, just because I have worked with you for a while and I also knew you when you were a trainer and I was a client, but you are an excellent cook. You've done cooking demos here at the gym for our clients in the past. Can you tell us a little bit about your cooking background? And, one of the favorite things I always tell people when I'm sending them to you for nutrition help is that if you have a recipe that you really like, Josh can help you take something that maybe is not as healthy and make it healthier. So can you just talk to us a little bit about your cooking skills and excellent cooking skills, I should say?
Oh, thank you. So it started back, I grew up in a family that liked to cook. And it just sort of kind of snowballed from there and then really didn't take off. Michelle and I like to cook for enjoyment early on in our marriage, but that was one of the benefits of when I did get injured and I wasn't really able to do much. I spent some time in culinary school and really got more educated on, the quote unquote right way to do things and kind of taking that cooking knowledge to the next level, which then once I started focusing in on the health, we'd take all those recipes that we love that maybe weren't quite so ideal to an everyday diet. And then we, kind of have fun with playing with those recipes, tweaking ingredients, trying to make them taste the same, but yet still fit into, a quality daily routine where you're going to eat these things on a regular basis, enjoy your food, still enjoy cooking, and get all those things that, you really love to have on a routine basis.
Cool. So Josh, I got a question for you.
Sure, far away.
I'm curious if you went back 12 years, so you did this to me in my interview. So let's go back 12 years.
Okay.
Is this what you expected training and working at Pulse to look like, or did you have a different perspective when you got into training?
I honestly, let me say, I'm really glad that I'm here.
Damn right.
I had no idea where we would be, but no, I had no clue. And let me, I don't know that I really had any idea what I was getting into. Because, I pretty well had what I would say the average kind of, athlete, college experience, whatever, when I'm just a guy going to a gym, right? And you throw some weight around, whatever. Was never super serious, just, you'd go do your thing at the gym. And so when I kind of got into this, I didn't know what, even though I had a certification, and I just remember the first time coming, and watching you work, I'm like, wow, I know that I can lift a few weights on my own, but I have no idea how to instruct somebody on to work through this. So I was excited, but yet terrified. And then I bet, Jessica, you and Tina can speak to this, watching Jeff work, he's really good. And when you first get started, you expect to be where he's at, and I think we've all had this conversation separately from you, Jeff, that, it takes time. I mean, you weren't where you were at, even when I started at the beginning, it took those reps. So yes, it's been a transition over the years. And I mean, the business model has changed. We're doing things totally different now than we were when I started with you a decade plus ago. Just even we were doing a lot of one-on-one training. We've grown, where were we, probably 40 or 50 clients back then. And now we're 3 times that. So just everything we do is, well, and when we go back to our scale talk, from last week, we were, 10 years ago, the scale was a big thing. We were using it as a major tool in what we do. And now we've pushed away from it. So a lot of things are different, but I think they're better.
Then how, I gave you my vision for 17 years down the road. Yours doesn't have to match mine per se, but so I'm curious. We've never had this talk. Where do you actually see Pulse in 10 years from now?
So I loved your vision. And I, as being an employee, I'm all for a new gym. I'm great. I'd be great at spending your money. And I loved all the ideas you had. I think personally, we all kind of see things from our own perspective, right? I have been totally re-energized in the profession from the start of the transformation program, and for my personal, growth in this nutrition area of focus. The sky's the limit as far as I'm concerned with all of this. We've started just recently, doing some of these online, and so the in-person, the online. I don't think there's any way to stop this ball rolling. I think it's just all, growing from there. So to me, in the next 10, 15, 17 years, I like your size of growth, and I think all of this just needs to get bigger and better.
Sweet. Well, glad to hear we're heading in the right direction, the same direction.
Yeah, I think so. No questions.
Tina, Jessica, fire away.
Okay, well, right now I'm still doing the math at how old I'll be in 15 to 17 years. So
don't do that.
Don't do that, Matt.
Well, it's okay. Like, it's good. It's a good thing. Like, it's gonna be great.
I think
it's gonna be fantastic. I keep feeling better every year after year. So I can just assume I'm gonna feel 15 times better than I do today, right?
Yeah. Hey,
we'll feel 15.
So, Josh, I'm going to take us back to the basement, back to the beginning, back to headquarters. Maybe headquarters is out of town.
Okay.
Maybe headquarters is doing different things. I'm asking this for our clients who have known Jeff and Josh for a long time, but you've been working with Jeff a long, long time. How has that evolved over the past decade?
Well, it certainly has. So I can think of one Tina experience. It was actually Tina and Lisa from very early on. And I'll bet Jeff, I probably hadn't worked for you, but 2 or 3 months at that point. And Jeff used to just leave town, and nobody would really know that he was gone. And I was there working with a group, and Tina, I think it was you and Lisa came in. It was the 9-ish group before it was all that it is now. And you guys came in to work out, and you're like, "Hey, is Jeff here?" I'm like, "I guess not. I haven't seen him all day." And we're like, "Well, go ahead and let's get to working out because I guess he's not going to be here. And then come to find out, I think it was one of your trips up to play hockey up north. And you were just gone for a few days. But to bring that full circle now, Jeff communicates a whole lot better. So it's taken a decade. But we even used to ask your mom, she'd come in to work out. Hey, is Jeff out of town? Well, I don't know. I haven't talked to him. And now most of the time, Bonnie even knows what's going on. So that certainly has changed.
Well, you should take that as like the ultimate compliment, Josh, because I had full trust in you and everything you're capable of, that you didn't need to know anything. Everything was going to be fine. The building wasn't going to burn down. And if it was, well, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out. And my trust in you was just that high. So,
well, I appreciate it. So something else I would say that has changed, because we were just talking about this, was it this morning or yesterday at the gym? Our office has changed over the last 10 years. So 10 years ago, we used to have an office in a basement with a couch, a
brown couch.
a brown couch. And now I must say, you ladies have probably had a lot to do with it, but the office looks a whole lot different. Painting, decorations, the whole 9 yards, and much more tidy, let's say. But I think Jeff has come along, maybe kicking and screaming, but it's come a long way.
Thanks, I think.
No, it is. It is.
Yes, things have changed.
They're
definitely good. Thank you, ladies.
I have one more question for you, Josh.
Yeah.
On the nutrition side,
Yep.
we do send a lot of our 12-week transformation clients over to you once they get to a certain spot in their journey. What would you say is the most common struggle that you see among our clients? And if you would share the advice that you might give on that most common area, then maybe you could be helping someone who's watching right now.
Sure. So I would say there's probably two, and I'll go with the kind of the one that fits most ladies, because I've probably had, I don't know, 6 or 8 of these just in the last week or so. Not eating enough. I would say that most ladies, when we just have this mindset, when we're trying to lose, we don't eat enough. And, I think we had this talk with the scale talk, last week, but just having that conversation and trying to start them in believing that eating more actually can lead to weight loss. And then probably the number 2 thing, and it kind of feeds into that, is it seems like most of the people, when they come to me, because they've been working with you guys on getting that water in, getting those veggies, getting those fruits, it seems like we have those 3 breakfast, lunch, dinner nailed down pretty well. But then our calories are low because we're not doing anything in between those. So then probably the first conversation we have to have is, hey, we can have some little snacks in. It doesn't have to be 4, 5, 6 hours in between meals. It can be 2 hours with a little snack. So I would say those are probably the 2 first most common things that we discuss in most of the conversations.
Thank you.
I got a question for you, Josh. What is your favorite part about being a trainer or a coach?
I'm going to say the relationships. So that was one of the major reasons that at the time when I took the job working for you, Jeff, I actually had been a stay-at-home dad for like the previous 6 months because I had had another bad bout with my back, had to just stop what I was doing at the time because I couldn't stay healthy. I was herniating discs in my back every time I was doing stuff. And so I just needed to shut it down, go through therapy. And so I was, my 2 oldest kids now that are in middle school and high school were both, little at home. So I was pretty well a stay-at-home dad. And probably 6 months of doing that, and I realized, stay-at-home parents, that is not for wimps, because I just did not deserve to work that hard. So and in all seriousness, I was missing the adult interaction, outside the home. And so that was one of the major reasons that I wanted to go find something and find my niche, was to, get back in the workforce and have those relationships with people. And that I think that's probably why one of the real drawing forces to Pulse, is the relationships that we're able to have in those small groups. Years ago it was the one-on-ones. Now it's the kind of 3 or 4 or 5-on-1. When we're in a bigger group. But it's those relationships that just have kept me here. And it's honestly the driving force of why I want to do what I'm doing.
Very cool. Tina, you got any other questions for Josh?
No, I think we've covered a lot. This is good.
Jessica, got anything
No.
for him?
No, I think that was a lot of good information.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I think you answered kind of all my questions, and what I think everybody's going to get a better understanding of who you are and where you come from and your background as far as how you became a trainer, and losing, having gone through this experience of losing 100 pounds is such a powerful tool that you have in your pocket. While it sucks that you had to go through it, but only makes you such a better coach. You're so much more relatable with that topic, and a lot of people probably don't even know that you've lost 100 pounds. So now that everybody knows that, hopefully they, anybody that's going through that journey, by all means, I think, Josh, you would agree that you would be wide open to having the conversation and just talk to anybody about it to make them maybe feel a little bit more comfortable and a lot more relatable than, like myself. I don't have that tool. And that's something so important that you have. And I hope anybody listening takes advantage of, the ability to talk to somebody here locally that can give you that experience and who's gone through it, because it comes with a whole lot of emotions and a whole lot of other things. So I appreciate you sharing that with us, because it is so important that people know that. But other than that, that's all I got for you. So great job today, and thank you.
You bet. You bet.
And we will see you guys next week.